Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nikita, welcome to the Cryptus channel, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the project Minima, which is going to launch in the near future. We will look at the project's functionality, how you can participate in it by running your own node and of course receive tokens for this before the launch, and we will look at the project's future and what is about to come, so you get the info before everybody else does and before it goes into the masses. Our team is on the way to partnering with Minima and maybe becoming their ambassadors, so it's quite possible that in the near future you will receive more updates or important infos about the project here on our channel. And considering the important infos, on the 14th of September, Minima and their developers are going to have a live AMA session where they will answer the questions of their community and also tell us something more about the project itself and the future plans of the project. So stay tuned for this, and the links to the AMA sessions and all the other important links will be in the video description below. Let's start with the project itself. Minima is a blockchain or a project which will focus on decentralization as much as possible. So much that every user which will use Minima will be able to run a full node from their mobile phone, which is pretty great for decentralization again. And why is decentralization so important? Because decentralization is not only about, in theory, giving everybody the ability to run a full node and to validate the blockchain, but also the ability to do this for every user, for every normal user on practice. For example, the mining equipment for Bitcoin and for all the other cryptocurrencies is pretty expensive, and if you don't invest millions or tens of millions of dollars into mining equipment or into the buying and purchasing of coins for proof of stake blockchains, then by chance and by probability it's pretty unlikely that your node is going to be selected by the blockchain to validate and confirm the next block, so that you are getting the rewards. And basically this is the reason why people are forming mining or staking pools, just to increase the hash rate in their nodes, so that the probability of their node being selected for receiving the reward in a reasonable period of time is higher. In the end, the situation leads to the following picture over here. So this is the split between the mining pools in Bitcoin, for example, for today's date. So we see like 9 or 10 mining pools for Bitcoin, and these mining pools are all able to take decisions considering the blockchain update, considering the updates in the system, and so on. And basically the most control over the blockchain is in the hands of these three pools, just because they're combined over 51% of the hash rate. Of course, there are also different other little and smaller pools which are periodically getting some rewards, but we can't take them into account, or we shouldn't take them into account really, because their voice doesn't really count against these guys over here. That's actually the problem which Minima wants to solve. So basically make the validating of blocks available to everyone and remove the need of creating mining pools and staking pools for the users to receive rewards. So basically, now that we know what Minima wants to do and plans to do, let's see how they're going to accomplish this and how the blockchain is going to look like. The way the blockchain of Minima is going to be built is that it's going to consist out of two layers. Layer 1, which is called Minima, and Layer 2, which will be called Maxima. Minima is basically a Layer 1 solution for the blockchain, which will be extremely decentralized and secure, but because of the high decentralization and security, they will need to sacrifice the scalability, so basically fast and cheap transactions on this layer. Because by the blockchain trilemma, which we're having right now, it's impossible to pick all three of the three criteria a blockchain can have, because the technology is just not there yet. So basically we've got scalability, we've got security and decentralization. As they say, pick two that you like the most. So layer 1 blockchain of Minima is security and decentralization, so the blockchain is going to be really secure. The second layer, on the other hand, or the layer 2 or Maxima, is going to be infinitely scalable with really fast transactions and with free transactions also. This layer will be used for fast and free transactions, for running smart contract and dApps on the Maxima platform, and Minima platform of course as well. So basically what the blockchain is going to do, these two layers are going to be interconnected inside the blockchain, and the blockchain will be really highly distributed and decentralized and secure with fast and free transactions. To understand how these two layers will be interconnected to each other and how they're going to work, we need to understand how the consensus mechanism is going to work. So let's first start with the example of Bitcoin, and if we keep it really short, then we can imagine the Bitcoin as a big distributed ledger ledger. So basically there are lots of nodes which validate the transactions which we've just seen, and basically every node is keeping a record of the whole blockchain, and every time somebody in the blockchain is making a transaction, every node needs to record it, pass it over to the other blockchain, not the blockchain, to the other nodes, and basically every node needs to record it. This is why the Bitcoin blockchain weighs like tons of gigabytes. By right now it's a lot of information because the transactions, they don't go anywhere, they're just keeping the storage, and basically the Bitcoin blockchain is really slow because they need to exchange the data between all the validators and all the nodes. The way the Minima blockchain is going to work will be a little bit different. It will also use the proof of work consensus mechanism, but combined with the proof of history consensus mechanism. And this basically means the way it's going to work will be best seen at an example. For example, we want to make a transaction from our wallet into a different wallet, and before we can send the transaction, our device, it may be a mobile phone or maybe the PC, needs to make a little bit of computational power, so basically proof of work for the network. And only after this we may send our transaction. A part of this proof of work, or the energy that we used up, will go into fueling the transaction on layer 2, so basically sending our tokens to the other wallet, and another part of the work is going to go to the layer 1, so basically for securing the whole blockchain and for finalizing the transaction in the finished layer 1 blockchain of the Minima. This type of consensus assures that every user, at least every active user on the blockchain, needs to make some proof of work over time. So basically this way the hash rate of the blockchain is distributed really evenly between all the users. And as we know, or as we understood from the beginning of the video, the amount of the hash rate in the blockchain is not the most important thing. Of course it is important, so just so there is no 51% attack, but it's also just equally as even not more important how this hash rate is distributed, because if like 51% of the hash rate is allocated to one miners, that's not really secure, because basically if one miner was all this, then he could basically change anything in the blockchain that he wants, and the blockchain will be controlled by him. So the more the hash rate is distributed inside the blockchain, the more it's decentralized and the higher the security is, what we can see here on the Minima blockchain. The best and most simple way to imagine how the blockchain of Minima is going to work, just imagine Bitcoin, where we've got like a book, and the same copy of the book is being distributed between every node or every full validating node on the Bitcoin network. So it's really heavy and a lot of information everywhere at every participant. With Minima there's a little bit different story. We can imagine the same book, but not every node has this book. Every node has only one single page from this book, and all the other pages are distributed between the network. But every user has the same spine of this book, and also because he has the spine, he's got the information of where every other page of the other users is going to be located in this book. So once somebody wants to make a transaction on the blockchain, all the other blockchains, all the other nodes can check if the user has enough basically resources or money or tokens on his wallet in order to be able to accomplish this transaction. And by this distributed technology, the blockchain will weigh a lot less, and the information will transfer a lot faster. Now let's get to the probably most interesting part of the video, and these are the tokens and the tokenomics of the Minima blockchain. And a really important thing to note here first is that the Minima token will not be used for paying for transactions, just like for example as it's done with ETH on the Ethereum blockchain, and it's not going to be used for staking or anything similar like this. The whole value from the token is going to come from its decentralization and really high security, which will raise the demand for this token. There is going to be a fixed supply of 1 billion Minima tokens, and at the launch the Minima protocol is designed to be completely finished, requiring no future hard forks. So this is basically a project which will be completely done once it's on the market, once the tokens are there, and so it will have no updates, no future hard forks, just because it will be really hard to force a hard fork if 51% of the users do not agree to the hard fork, and it's really hard to make the 51% of the users agree to the hard fork because here we won't have a lot of pools, like for example in Bitcoin or in Ethereum. Here every node will be run by a separate user. The other important thing is that all the Minima tokens will be distributed to the users by the launch of the project, and once the project launched we will only be able to get the tokens from the market, so basically just buying them off an exchange. And here is how at the launch the tokens will be distributed. So there will be like 5% for developer grants, 15 or 16% for team and advisors, 21% will be sold in the seed round, 10% are there for the private round, a little bit is there for the ecosystem, there's something for the public sale, 16%, and 30% of the tokens will be distributed as community incentives. And in today's video, we will show you more precisely how we can get these or some of these 30% of the tokens for setting up our own node. In order to run your own node and receive the tokens, we need to go to the Minima website, and the link to this particular website I will leave in the description to the video below. And here we can basically sign up to the whitelist in order to receive the link to downloading the application for setting up our own node. So you go here to the link, I will leave you the link to this particular page, and here you just put in your phone number. This means after you've put in your phone number, you will go onto the whitelist for the Minima blockchain, and once you're on the whitelist, if by this point of time there won't be too many members, you will receive a link for downloading the application, which will allow you to validate the blocks on the Minima blockchain. Right now the application will be only available for the Android users, so if you're running iOS you can't mine or you can't receive Minima just yet, but in the future the Minima team has in plans, according to their roadmap, that they will bring out a full working application for iPhone and for iOS as well, so we will need to stay tuned for this one. Once you've set everything up, you've set up your node and followed all the instructions, then you're basically done for at least half of the year, because Minima is going to launch in the second quarter, somewhere in the second quarter of 2022, so at least half a year from the time that we're making this video. And your phone will start to validate the blockchain. It will not require a lot of computation power, it's like a very little bit. And basically for doing this work, for validating the blockchain, you will receive one Minima token per day. So the earlier you start, the more time you've got till the launch of the blockchain, until the start of the blockchain, and the more tokens you will earn. This is actually only one way of earning your Minima tokens, and the other way is to help the developers of the project by some other tasks, like for example finding bugs in the project, or they will be soon launching a developer incentive program for enabling anyone to build their own mini DApps, so decentralized application on the Minima base. That's probably not for everyone, because only a really few people know how to search bugs, know how to code, and how to build their own DApps on the different applications. So for the vast majority of the people watching this video, this option of running their own nodes from their device and receiving Minima tokens will be, I think, more of an interest. Maybe it's also a good idea to go to the whitelist with multiple devices, or get your friends or family to do this, just because you will increase your income by this multiple times. So all in all you've got to do is enter your phone number here. You will receive a link to the download of an application so that you can validate or start validating the blocks in the Minima blockchain, and right after this you will start receiving your rewards, which you can store and keep in the Minima wallet or in the node which you've actually downloaded. So everything is pretty simple, and a really good way to participate from early on in a really good project. We're actually not going to show how to set up your own node for Minima in this video, because the process is actually really pretty simple. We just need to follow some simple steps. But if a lot of people are going to have trouble with this, and we'll see this in the comments if somebody needs help, then we'll definitely make another video about how to set up your node, so like a little guide for Minima, so everybody can use it. So all in all, considering the blockchain itself, Minima is going to be a project and a blockchain with maximal decentralization, and also with really fast and free transactions, also supporting smart contracts and decentralized applications, while maintaining a really high security and again a really high decentralization layer. The project is still in its really early stage, and typically in all these blockchain projects and stories, if we start participate in a blockchain sold that early on, like for example half a year before its launch, then the rewards are pretty great at the end, but we need to wait for a little bit, because we're like the early adopters of Minima right now. So it's a pretty good idea again to start validating the blocks right now to set up your own node, and for the ones that are using iOS, either do this from your PC or run your own node a little bit later once the iOS application is actually there. And that's actually it for the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, that you liked it, and that the video did give you some information that was of importance to you and helped you further on in your blockchain movement. And we'll see each other in the next videos. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.